Alrighty then. So let's do a couple more exercises. Now, I want to show you something right off the bat. So if you'll notice, this is the first exercise, and the paper is in portrait mode. Okay, so this is portrait, this is landscape. Okay, it's in portrait mode, and I've got my heading up here and my name down here, right? Here's the other exercise. And once again, it's in portrait mode right here. Now, even if something is in landscape, like the next one that we're about to do, I still want it like with the heading up here and your name down here. Because that way, you know, when you put them all together, let's say into a book, and they're all together, that way I can just go through and all your headings and all your exercise numbers are all in the same place. Keeps it nice and neat. We'll know that we'll be able to just, you know, put a little staple at the top up here. All good. So do your exercises. If they are in portrait mode, go ahead and get your name and your title. And even if they are in landscape mode, right, still put your name and your title in portrait mode. It'll just make it a lot easier for me. Okay, so now on to the exercises. All right. So I was saying before that the shapes are going to make things a lot easier to draw stuff. All right, well then let's prove it. Let's start using these shapes. So in the next drawings, what we do, I want you to make two drawings, right? And one is going to be a drawing that uses all the shapes. And this drawing, I want you to go ahead and I want you to leave it in construction lines. Really light, right? Because I really want you to get that whole idea of drawing, well, really light. Okay, the next one, you're going to finish and put values in it. Okay, now a little note, I'm going to have to repeat this probably a lot. Even though I've got a house here and I've got a robot here, you don't need to draw the exact same house as me or the exact same robot. These are just my examples. And oftentimes I'll try and give multiple examples just so that, you know, you get the idea that you could do something different. Okay, but if you draw one that's just like mine, that's fine too. Okay, so now on to it. So this would be the first one. Okay, and so I chose a house because a house uses a lot of shapes. Okay, really easy. And once again, yours doesn't have to look like mine. Okay, we've been through that, right? Okay, but anyways, but here it is. And what's more is that I've labeled all the shapes, right? So I want you to use all the shapes at least once, right? So for instance, here is square, right? So here's my square right there. And it's labeled. So actually, I guess I got two squares. Okay, here is a circle. I've got a circle right here. So go ahead and label that. Here is a parallelogram. Here's my parallelogram. Label that. Polygon. Here's a polygon. Organic. Here's an organic, right? And so it's okay to use things more than once, but use each shape at least once and label it. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to run you through just a little bit of that. Let's see if we can't do it. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to label this, right? And so even though I'm going to do it in landscape, I'm going to label it in portrait. And so what is this one? This one is, okay, drawing 5, right? We've done 4 other drawings up to this point. So drawing 5. And this has to do with line, right? Line. So put it down. Value. And it has to do with shape. Remember, writing the words out really helps to identify things, really gets the concepts into your brain, into your being. Okay, so now I want to make this title a little bit longer, and we're going to call it Using Construction Lines to Make Something from Shapes. Okay, And I want you to write it out, right? So this is using construction lines to make something from shapes. Okay, because that was the whole point, right? The shapes are an end in themselves. We want to be able to draw things using shapes. Okay, and who was doing it? Well, it was me, and there's my last name, Kuhn, and my first name is Robert. And let's just pretend that I was in period 1, and maybe I was also in period 5, right? And so this is exercise number 5. Okay, so we're just going to draw the exact same house as this. You draw your own house. Okay. But here we go. Holding the pencil way back here, I can go ahead and I can put in those guidelines. So here we've got this and this and this. And I've got a triangle. And I'm going to call it triangle. Okay. And so now I can go down here and across here, here, and I've already got that top line, and I could call this a square. I can put another square right over here, but I've already got one square labeled, so I don't need to do it again. Okay, I've got this line over here, this one here, nice and light, parallel, right, parallel. And so that is my parallelogram. Okay, so I need to do a circle, so I'm going to just put in sort of a fancy window right here, maybe with breaking that up a little bit. Try and keep it nice and light. That got a little bit dark. And I'm going to label this circle. I just want you to have a lot of intent when you're drawing things. Okay, so now maybe a few more shapes in here. Here, this doorway, that is a rectangle, but I don't need to label it because I've already got the square, and here's another square and a square. Lots of shapes. A few more squares for some windows along the sides. Okay, now what do I need? I could use a polygon, so I'll make a walkway here, and I'll draw a polygon. A polygon is an undefined shape with multiple sides. Polygon. Okay, what else do I need? Let me see, I've got the circle, I've got the triangle, I've got the square, I've got the parallelogram, I've got the polygon. I need an organic. Okay, so I'll draw some little clouds right here. And the clouds will be my organic shapes. Right here. Why not? And we'll call it organic. Okay, and maybe another cloud over here. Okay, so now I've got the basic thing in there, and I suppose I could be done. But you know what? I like getting the most out of something when I do something, right? So for instance, I made this parallelogram a little bit tall. And I'm going to fill this in a little bit over here, and that's giving me a little bit of depth. I think I'm going to put some more details in here. So on my first one, I put a half round over the door. I think I'll do that here as well. So a little half-round window over the door. Maybe put a few details in. So for instance, putting molding around, in other words, an outline around all your pieces. Because if you look, most houses have a little bit of molding around it, a little trim, right? Okay, maybe around the door as well. Nice and light. I get my pencil holding it way back here. Makes it so nice and easy. Maybe a little doorknob. Okay, maybe some more molding over here. Putting in those details. That'll make your drawing much more interesting. And these are exercises, but they are drawings, and remember, it's a means to an end. You want to get better at this stuff. You're just in class doing the bare minimum possible, then, well, good for you. You'll get the bare minimum possible. See, so, when I see the kids doing like the first exercise, and they're just doing, a couple scribbly lines or whatever, well, first off, I'm not going to accept that. But second, they're just not getting much out of it. Okay. You can see how I'm even rotating my paper because I want to draw straight lines without a ruler. You can use a ruler if you want, but I'm telling you, it's going to slow you down quite a bit, and you won't get as much practice if you're using a ruler. I could even go a little crazy. In California here where we're at, you don't see siding too much, but maybe this is a cute little old-fashioned house, and you might have a little bit more in the way of siding. So here, I'll put a little trim here, and very neatly draw a few horizontal lines there. See, the more lines I draw, the more practice I get. Keeping it all really, really light, right? Ghosting that, coming over, ghosting it, so I get a nice continuity as I continue that line. So there's a little siding there. Maybe I'll just go ahead and line that up along this other side here, etc., etc. And then, that's pretty much it. I've done this part of the assignment. Okay, leaving it nice and light. What do I do? On the other one, I give us a little sunshine. Why not? Make it kind of cute. Got that little sun. Why not? Little sun rays. I'm very technical in my drawing, I must admit, but I like to have a little bit of fun. Why not? Why not? So you can see, these lines here relative to my writing here, very light, and that's what we want. We want to leave these very, very light. Okay, so that's that assignment. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll make you another video, and we'll do the second part of that assignment, which is making a second drawing.